Greetings, this is Bloodrill and welcome back to Let's Try Rosewater. Last time we saw the show, and I guess now we need to go into the saloon to find this guy. Or outside.
I'm telling you, Jake.
Outside works too.
I need that money tonight.
You knew the deal going in, Charlie. There's nothing I can do about it.
We'll see about that.
Hope I'm not interrupting, gentlemen.
My friend here was just saying his farewells. Weren't you, Charlie? Please do pardon that unpleasant display. What can I do for you, my dear?
Name's Harley Leger. I'd like to interview you for the Rosewater Post.
Well, shucks, it would be my pleasure, Miss Leger. Shall we go upstairs to my room? Beats standing out here in the dust.
Lead on.
Miss Leger, permit me to introduce my associate, Danny Luo.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance, Miss Leger.
Likewise, Mr. Luo.
Please, you can call me Danny. Everybody does.
So what did you think of the show? Pretty spectacular, huh?
Sure.
Yes, that's definitely the word for it.
I'm glad you think so. Shall we proceed with the interview?
Right. So who is the real Gentleman Jake?
Mercy me. That's a hell of a question. Now, I ain't much for philosophizing, Miss Leger, so I'll just say this. In my case, what you see is what you get.
I see. Well, okay then. How did you come to pick Rosewater as your latest venue?
Simple. Plenty of folk in this town are looking for a good show. I ain't so hoity-toity as to think El Presidio or Los Virgenes are the only places worth visiting. After spending all day bent double over a pan in a creek or working his keister off down in a mine, a man is entitled to some amusement, wouldn't you say?
She's not keeping any notes. Obviously, there is no tape recorder or anything like that, so she must have a really good memory if she's not writing anything down. It's kinda weird for a journalist.
You're clearly a man of great deeds. Which would you say has been your greatest?
I value all my accomplishments equally, Miss Leger. To single any one out would diminish the others. I couldn't bring myself to do that.
What a noble sentiment.
I like to think so.
Is there anything that frightens the mighty Gentleman Jake?
You know, somebody once told me, fear is only as deep as the mind allows. When you deal with the type of folks out on the frontier that I do, marauders, bandits, desperados, your fears have got to be shallow. Otherwise, you won't last 2 seconds.
Hey, Jake, don't you have an appointment with Miss Sally this evening?
Damn, you're right. Sorry to cut things short, Miss Leger. I've got another engagement I need to prepare for.
I should have plenty for my article. I appreciate your time.
Well, I look forward to reading your story in the next edition. Danny, see the lady out, would you?
Well,
Good
this
meeting you,
doesn't seem
Danny. Guess I'll see you around.
good.
Not to worry, gents. Jake's all yours. Hey, you were in the show. Nice juggling.
Thank you, ma'am. Jake, get your ass out here right now, you four-flusher.
No, see,
Now, what's all the ruckus?
don't want to press escape.
Don't play the fool with me, Ackerman. You know damn well why I'm here.
Also, where is
You
everyone?
might think you can give me the runaround, but I wonder if my friends here won't convince you to pay up.
Charlie. Didn't anybody ever tell you only cowards get others to solve their problems for them?
You slum-guzzling bastard. I'm gonna fix that wobbling jaw of yours.
Come on up here, then.
Are you sure you won't reconsider, Charlie?
Shut the hell up and get out of my way. McGuire, take care of the kid. Let's dance, cowboy.
Oh, auto-saving. Nice.
You're in my way, you lummox.
And that's where I'm staying. We can do this all day.
Again, I think this has something to do with that.
Hey, don't start any trouble, lady. Hey! Don't start any
Good.
trouble,
That's what we
lady.
wanted. I knew this would come in handy.
Whoopsie daisy.
Hey, nice one.
Not the most honorable way of winning a fight, but these boys were hardly playing fair.
Hey, Charlie. Looks like your guys weren't as tough as you hoped.
Whoo-wee.
Nice.
Got the old blood pumping.
You've got some interesting associates, Mr. Ackerman. If you'll excuse me, I have an article to write.
Hang on just a minute. I'd be a fool to just let you walk away after that performance. Come on back up here. I've got a business proposition that may interest you.
What about Miss Sally?
Oh, she can wait. All right, Miss Leger, I won't beat around the bush. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job, and I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr. Bennett Clark?
Yes. Just read about him in the newspaper we got.
Of course. The etheric researcher. What about him?
Dr. Clark moved out here not long after the big disaster back in Lamplight City. He kept up his research, even did some demonstrations at the Opera House. Till one day, he just up and vanished. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of him in nearly a year.
So is he dead or what?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. But the real question is what he left behind. We're going in search of Dr. Clark's fortune.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east into financing his research. All those gizmos and doodads don't come cheap, you know? We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to come.
Stash? What stash? Surely it's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere.
Nope. I'm telling you, he kept his assets in cold, hard cash.
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because nobody knows where he is?
Now, nothing so uncouth as that. Picture this, a swashbuckling pirate captain, his vessel freighted with treasure. The vast fleets of law and order
This guy is not very
circling,
trustworthy.
closing in. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to conceal his ill-gotten loot and makes himself scarce. Circumstance conspires to deprive him of the opportunity to return. Now, he's the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of robbery? Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's personal wealth. The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric research. Since that's been outlawed, he can't touch it. And it's a drop in the ocean for the investors. They'll never miss it.
How many folks are you planning on bringing into this?
That depends on what we find. But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split. Enough to make it all worthwhile.
What's your plan?
Clark had a lab nearby, a couple miles outside of town. Last place anybody saw him. We poke around there, retrace his steps, and it should lead us straight to the loot.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not entirely convinced.
Very interesting. I like where this is going, actually.
Truth be told, I'm not. Assuming this fortune even exists, which it probably doesn't, how do I know you won't just leave me for dead and take it all for yourself?
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous were I in your position.
Mr. Ackerman's a good man, Miss Leger. He's never led me astray in all the time I've known him.
I appreciate it, Danny, but I think Miss Leger's gonna need a little more than just your word. Look, I've known quite a few moneyed folk in my time. They all got one thing
I really
in
like the way
common.
this guy talks.
You know what that is?
I don't. Please, enlighten me.
They're good at keeping their money safe. Clark's cash is out there. I just know it. As far as your safety, you just took out a couple of brutes twice our size. It's plain to see you can take care of yourself.
I'm pretty good with my pistols, and Mr. Ackerman can talk his way out of anything. But we could use somebody who's good in the fights.
Besides, stick around old Jake long enough and you'll have enough material to write a whole book. Forget a measly little write-up in the local rag. I'm offering you a front row seat to a much better show. So, what do you say?
That will make a good story. And you can't say no. But as a journalist, that makes sense.
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in. At the very least, this venture should make for an interesting tale.
I'm pleased to hear you say that.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call
His
me
voice actor
Jake.
is really good.
Dr. Clark's laboratory is a short hike from Rosewater. After getting run out of Lamplight City, this is where he went to ground. A secluded desert facility where he could get up to who knows what. Jake, Danny, and I head there at first light to see what secrets he left behind.
I would have preferred to actually
Quite a
go back to
sight,
the
ain't
I'll
paper
say. What
or,
the hell was Clark doing
go
out
to sleep
here?
for the night
That's a
instead of
question
just
for minds greater
jumping
than
here.
ours, Miss Leger.
Like, it would be nice to have that continuity. Alright, near Dr. Clark's abandoned desert lab. The show was entertaining enough in its way. It featured Gentleman Jake himself, his assistant Danny Liu, and Charlie, who acts the clown, in some decidedly broad comic interludes. There was a measure of talent on display. Jake pulled off an impressive sharpshooting trick. Oh, that's very... I wonder if this changes depending on your, uploading and thinking, oh, this is not so good or something. And this is why you'd actually take, notes. Because you don't remember shit. That's not a very great thing to do as a journalist. We'll fake it. To be fair, we have a colorful past, I guess, so... Alright. Let us have it. Clark. Whoa. Sorry. Are they doing another language?
Can we talk?
What's on your mind?
I've got some more questions about you.
I'm always happy to answer.
How do you and Danny get together?
I was packing up after a run of shows in Quick Point, having a hard time of it. You see, my assistant had up and left a few days prior, so I was flying solo.
Your assistant left? Why?
The showman's life ain't for everybody. I don't fault him for it. Anyhow, Danny comes up and offers to help with the crates. You should have seen him. Eyes wide, hands shaking, downright charming. So Danny gives me a hand and we get to talking. Turns out he's got experience roping and shooting. Even gave me a demonstration. I offered him the job as my assistant on the spot. The rest, as they say, is history.
This still bothers me, by the way. The whole way they do animation if you focus on it, it looks like, screen tearing. I guess you should not focus on it, but
Just how did you come to learn about Clark's money?
Not long ago, I got to talking with a feller at the saloon. The whiskey had loosened his lips and he blabbed all about the success of his Aurum claim. But then he told me about how he'd invested most of that Aurum in Clark's research and how he wasn't the only one.
And you're certain these investors won't be wanting their money back?
Can't speak for the rest, but this feller won't. See, his aforementioned loose lips got him into trouble with some other folk. Poor bastard was shot dead in the street.
I see. Would you care to recount some of your previous adventures?
I'd love to, but I'm afraid now just ain't the time. Soon as we have a respite, I'll be glad to regale you.
I'm impressed, Miss Leger. Never thought I'd live to see the day Jake refused to tell a story.
Enough jabber. Let's push on.
it is interesting that the animation also they do with the mouth movement. If I remember correctly, in their previous games, when you talk to someone, basically went into a portrait mode and had a character and his mouth was moving kinda weird. But this time they don't actually take you out of the world to do that.
Now there's something you don't see every day.
You can say that again.
Hey, Danny?
Ma'am?
I want to know something about you, Danny.
Okay. Like what?
You and Jake known each other long?
Gosh, that's a good question. I guess it's been about 2 years?
Sounds about right.
Time goes by quick when you travel around as much as we do.
What did you do before becoming Jake's assistant?
Oh, nothing glamorous. I was a stable hand in Quick Point. Life with Gentleman Jake is certainly more, lively.
Just how old are you anyway?
I'll be 21 this winter, but I can handle myself just fine if that's what you're worried about.
True enough. Danny's more experienced than some folk twice his age. You'd be a fool to underestimate him.
Foreshadowing?
Have you got any family?
Maybe.
Sure, my parents and older brother live on the coast, near El Presidio. I write them every month. Haven't seen them in a dog's age, though. But Jake's been like family to me, really.
We should get a move on.
Alrighty. Let's go check the laboratory. So he has another look.
Guess it shouldn't come as a surprise that the front door is not wide open for us.
That's a serious-looking lock.
Way too complicated for these lockpicks.
So, how are we supposed to get in?
Know if there are any locksmiths in town?
I'd prefer if we handled this ourselves. My old pal Captain Stokes is stationed nearby at Fort
Super
Beaumont.
sketchy.
He owes me a favor, or two.
Maybe he could give us some high-powered equipment to get inside.
You read my mind, Danny boy. Wouldn't do any harm to take a look around out here first, though.
He's got a letter. From the Pony Express, I guess.
Looks like Clark missed his last mail delivery.
That was the wrong button.
Seems to be from another scientist.
February 12th, 1850. Dr. Clark, I hope this letter finds you well. Upon hearing news of the reactionary and ignorant ban our leaders have seen fit to impose, my thoughts went to you and your thankless labors in the wilderness. When they hounded you out after the expo, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leroy's cronies sabotaged your display to discredit you, you were undaunted. After enduring such a trying year, I know how much building that lab out there meant to you. A turning point in your fortunes, or so it seemed. Yet I am sure you will persevere once more. One day when rationality again prevails in the halls of government and this silly thing is lifted, I hope to take you up on your offer of a tour. If you've returned to the bosom of civilization by then, all the better. With warm regards, Dr. Roderick Nethersole. P.S. how you managed to rig a TT-180 console to control both your equipment and door mechanisms still baffles me. Mine is destined for the scrapyard.
Cool.
Dr. Clark really liked his sarsaparilla. There must be at least 30 empty bottles in these crates.
I once drank 10 bottles of sarsaparilla for a bet.
Did you win?
Well, yes, and no.
Doing some tidying, are we?
We might find some use for these. Come help me. I can't carry them all myself.
Hey, I ain't gonna start belly aching if you want to go around collecting refuse. Might fetch us a few shillings if we sell them back at the Jack of Diamonds.
There you go. And some for you.
Thanks.
Weird.
Empty sarsaparilla bottles.
Okay.
Wonder if Dr. Clark boarded these up himself. The good doctor was pretty self-sufficient out here. Locked up tight.
Whoever closed this place up really didn't want anybody getting in.
This is one of the sturdiest locks I've ever seen.
I think we're gonna need to get creative. The fort stockpile might have something that could help.
Okay, dynamite it is, I guess. I don't see anything else. I thought maybe we could climb this, but there is no interact button, so I guess not.
Hey, Danny?
Ma'am?
Got any of your own ideas on how we might get into the lab?
Well, I think Jake has the right idea. We should ask for help at the fort.
We should get a move on.
To the fort we go then. Or not.
What are you doing? This is no place for sightseers.
And just who in the ether are you?
Such disrespect. You toy with forces you do not understand.
The lady asked you a question, sir.
Heed my warning. Stay away from this place. Its mysteries are not for you.
Hey, wait! You forgot your... hat?
What was that all about?
Good question.
Also good, actually, advice maybe. We're thinking of using dynamites in a place with weird energy. Maybe not the best idea.
Tinfoil. Why was that man wearing it as a hat? This isn't really my style.
Okay. Is there a map?
No sign of that odd bearded fellow. I wonder where he scampered off to.
I reckon we got ourselves bigger fish to fry right now, Miss Leger.
Nice colors. I really like that.
Hey, look, a show!
What a racket.
She's pretty good, though.
Vaya. That thing has seen some action. Excuse me? I said, excuse me. Hey!
Caramba, you made me miss. What do you want?
Who are you, and what are you doing out here?
I am Marisol de la Vega, Lieutenant General of the Constitutional Army of New Spain. My compadre is Corporal Eugenio Garcia.
Pleasure. I'm Harley Leger, and these are my associates Jake Ackerman and Danny Luo.
Good to meet you. In answer to your second question, Eugenio and I are practicing our shooting while we wait for our jefe to conclude his business.
Who did you say you were waiting for?
Our leader, General Filomeno Marquez. Surely you've heard of him.
Afraid not.
Híjole, it really is true. Vespuccians don't pay attention to anything unless it happens right in front of their faces. You do not know of the new Spanish Revolution?
Should I?
Ugh.
What about this revolution, then?
I do not have the time or the desire to explain the particulars of our struggle to you. Pick up a non-imperialist periodical if you can
God.
find one, and you might learn something.
Do you know anything about the laboratory just over yonder?
That abandoned wreck is a laboratory?
It was at some point.
Clearly, you know more about it than I do.
That's all for now. Happy shooting.
Thanks, gringa.
Hmm.
Anda! Why are you giving this to me?
I thought you might be able to use them for targets.
A fine thought. Put them on the wall over there. My thanks. Híjole!
I wonder why you did that. It was obviously meant for that, but I don't know why.
Caramba!
I guess we'll see.
Anda!
Nobody in sight, but I'm sure there are guards somewhere.
Vaya.
Hey, anybody in there?
What is it?
We'd like to come in, please.
More unannounced visitors? Must be my lucky day. What country exiled you?
None. We just want to speak with Captain Stokes.
Afraid he's indisposed.
Why don't you tell Stokes that Jake Ackerman needs a word?
Gentleman Jake?
At your service.
We're not in the market for entertainment. It's like I said. Oh, dad blasted. Would you knock it off with the shooting already? I can't hear myself think!
You call yourself a soldier when the sound of gunfire sets you quivering like a coward? Pathetic.
Look, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Do they have infinite bullets?
Would you happen to know anything about the lab
guess they
just
do.
over that way?
No.
Well, they have the,
Why, frankly,
bandolier,
I
but
don't care to.
still.
What do you all get up to in this place?
I'm really not at liberty to say, ma'am.
I wouldn't be asking to see Captain Stokes if it wasn't important.
I opened the gate for the last person who said that to me today. And what did I get as a reward? His 2 cronies raising hell for the past hour. No, ma'am, not again.
Carry on, soldier.
Right.
Alright.
Hey, Danny?
Ma'am?
Who do you suppose that odd bearded fellow was?
I don't know. But I hope we don't run into him again. He gave me a strange feeling.
How can we get into the fort?
The guard seems upset about all the noise. Maybe he'll warm to us if we can figure out some way to take care of it.
We should get a move on.
Okay.
Caramba!
Caramba.
Hey!
Ay, caramba.
You again? What is it now?
Say, do you think you could practice your shooting somewhere else?
Why?
The fort guard isn't happy about the noise.
Well, then maybe he should choose another profession.
You're pretty good, but I bet I can beat you at shooting.
I am the best shot in New Spain.
Care to prove it? How about we use those bottles I gave you as targets?
Very well. Prepare to be humiliated.
Say, Jake, could you give us a hand?
My pleasure.
How many bottles are there?
About 30.
Then we will each shoot at 5. Whoever breaks the most wins.
Sounds fair.
I am feeling generous this morning. Would you like the opportunity to practice first?
Sure.
Yes, actually.
Very well.
Ready with those bottles, Jake?
Yep,
have saved.
Get ready. Set. Incoming.
You missed.
Bottle in the air.
Fantastic.
Bottle in the air.
Pure luck.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
Here we go.
Pure luck. Not bad. Let us see if you can repeat that performance. All right, for real this time.
Ready, set, bottle in the air.
Damn it.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
Here we go.
You missed.
Bottle in the air.
I'll get the next one.
Incoming.
Of course, I did better at practice.
Luck. My turn.
Incoming.
Dale.
Here we go.
Dale.
Incoming.
Take that.
Here we go.
Take that.
Incoming.
Caramba. I win.
Oh, time to do all 5?
Better luck next time, sweetheart.
Why isn't he or he shooting?
That thing has seen some action.
Maybe I need to destroy it or something.
Caramba.
Hmm,
Anda.
I am not sure. Let me save it here. Hmm.
Híjole. You will get.
I was.
Remember, whoever. Get on with it, mustache.
No need for name calling, madam. Ready, set, incoming.
Fantastic.
Here we go.
Pure luck.
Here we go.
Nice shot.
Bottle in the air.
I'll get the next one.
Bottle in the air.
Fantastic.
My turn.
Bottle
Almost.
in the air.
Caramba.
Incoming.
Anda.
Bottle in the air.
Dale.
Here we go.
Take that.
Here we go.
Híjole.
There we go.
What? You beat me? Don't believe this. Beaten by a... pinche gringa pendeja. Eugenio, vámonos de aquí.
Nothing worse than a sore loser.
That was some great shooting, Miss Leger.
Thanks, but it was sheer luck. I've never really handled a gun before.
Could have fooled me.
We're probably lying. Alright, let's talk to the guy again, I guess.
Hey, guard.
What is it?
Sure is a nice, peaceful morning, isn't it?
What happened to those cacophonous varmints?
They took their business elsewhere. Now, would you be so kind as to let us in?
So long as you promise to keep it down.
Deal.
Well now, what have we here?
I appreciate your hospitality, Captain, but I must admit I am perplexed by the change in your position.
It's not my position, General Marquez. It's the position of the government of the Commonwealth of Vespuccia. I have some discretion in the execution of my orders, but I'm sure you can appreciate that there's a chain of command.
I am, of course, most grateful for the aid you have rendered in the past. I am sure that your recommendations carry weight with your superiors. If you would be willing to lend your influence in support of our cause.
Perhaps we can speak of this at another time, Mr. Marquez. As I said, I have other concerns to deal with.
Of course. I look forward to our next meeting.
Captain Stokes, you're a difficult man to see.
Ackerman, how the hell are you?
Leave this to me. I'll have Stokes eaten from the palm of my hand.
Somehow I doubt it.
Madam? Just a moment. I have seen you before.
Oh, it's that guy, really?
I'm surprised you saw much of
I didn't
anything
get
after
it.
that tumble you had.
Ah, of course. The newspaper office. I owe you my thanks.
Happy to help.
What's your name, anyway?
Harley Leger. This is Danny Luo, and over there is Jake Ackerman.
Sir?
I am General Filomeno Marquez. Though Filomeno seems to be difficult for you Vespuccians, so you may call me Phil.
Phil it is. Good to meet you.
And you? What brings you to the fort?
We're looking for help getting into the abandoned lab back there.
And why might that old ruin interest you, eh?
I can't say I'm a journalist.
You ask an awful lot of questions.
Only because we may share a common interest. In fact, I could get the laboratory open so we could both go in, if Stokes were not so stingy with his munitions.
How do you mean?
My specialty is demolitions and explosives. I just do not have any on hand right now.
Another party
I thought
member.
perhaps the captain might once again be willing to assist a fellow warrior in a righteous cause, but...
It's like I told Mr. Marquez, my hands are tied. Much as I'd like to help, I've got enough to worry about with my men missing. In fact, I was just heading out to search, so if you'll excuse me.
Hold your horses, Captain. How about we come with? I'm sure you could use the extra eyes.
It's mighty kind of you, Ackerman. Can't promise it'll be safe, though. We'll be going near native territory.
Come on, Stokes. You forget who you're talking to? I laugh in the face of danger. We'll ride with you.
Your friend is quite the braggadocio, no?
Yep.
That he is, and he doesn't ever seem to let up.
You're all in, then?
Apparently so.
I will accompany you as well.
Sorry, who are you?
Y'all can get acquainted on the trail. Let's get going. Sun's almost up. Appreciate y'all coming out with me. Strength in numbers and all that.
Our pleasure, Captain.
Exactly who is it you're looking for?
My first lieutenant, John Mulberry.
So when did your man go missing?
He left leading the patrol last evening and they never returned. I just hope the natives didn't get him. Things have been a bit tense of late.
Damn.
On the subject of missing people, did you ever cross paths with Dr. Bennett Clark?
The mad doctor? No, ma'am. My man and I steered clear of him. Used to be we'd see strange lights and hear weird noises coming from his lab. Don't know what he was up to out there, but it weren't natural.
You been stationed at Fort Beaumont long?
Nearly 4 years now. For the most part, it's a fairly quiet post. Of course, Rosewater's nearby and usually good for a diversion.
On that note, I'd be honored to have you at my show, Captain.
Ah, yes. Soon enough, Ackerman.
What makes you believe the natives are behind Mulberry's disappearance?
Our patrol perimeter goes close to their village. Wouldn't be the first time we've come to blows over boundaries. They fall back once they see our superior firepower. Thankfully, they haven't got guns, but they've been getting mighty bold lately.
So you're saying they've gotten aggressive when you've gone near their land? Sounds to me like they're just defending themselves.
Miss Leger, with all due respect, you've no idea what you're talking about. We've already given these folks an inch, but they have taken a mile.
The hubris
Governments try to
of these
appease them with
guys.
treaties and such, but
Jesus.
those ain't worth the paper they're written on. You'd sooner reason with a coyote.
Well, I think... Ah!
Dead?
Engines!
The entitlement, though. Damn.
So far, we have been stymied in our efforts to search Clark's laboratory. Captain Stokes led out a search patrol, and he let all us supplicants tag along. But it wasn't enough to deter the native war party that ambushed us. Stokes slipped the trap laid for him, leaving us four to stand in his stead. Now we await intelligence of our captors and some sign of our fate.
Well, isn't this a fine turn of events?
Okay. I think this is a good place to end the episode. Thank you for watching. As usually, feel free to leave me a comment if you want to. This is very interesting so far. I'll do some more. At some point I'll stop and play it off screen probably. But for now, there'll be more to come. So subscribe if you haven't, you know the drill. See you next time. Bye bye.